It's insane.
We,
Oh
we, we,
my
should, we
god.
should do a side act, we should kind of be like a Abbott and Costello, like who's on first type of thing,
Is that first?
Yeah, but
Hilarious.
it's like who can stay on the dildo longest.
Oh my god, that's so good. I did one thing where I brought up the Sibian. Do you know what the Sibian is? Where it has the machine and it's like the dildo on the tip,
Oh, it's like the two
shaped
one.
like a yeah, it's shaped like a seat, like a round thing, right? Like you sit on it, like a horse saddle,
Oh,
and
is
then
it like a dildo bike kind of thing? Like the thing from always.
yeah, and then it has a dildo on it, and you have like you turn it up, and it goes.
Yeah, everybody should do the Tour de France. They should redo the Tour de France, but with dildo bikes instead.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
get
See, there
numbers.
you go. It would be like it's kind of like what do you call those bronco? Like where you're riding the horse, like the
Oh,
mechanical.
yeah, the mechanical bull type of things. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you're riding the mechanical bull horse, and you're like, but it's like I don't know, it's the Sibian. And we did that. We brought that up on at Leopards. We brought that thing on stage and everything, and we had this girl on there, and I was like, she was like totally trying not to. So she was like this, and I was like, you can come if you want. She goes, oh, I was embarrassed too. I was like, no, that's the whole point. That's when you can stop. You can.
God bless that poor
She
little.
went up there and she was on there for so long, and I was like, and then I started asking her questions, like quizzing her, like what's 10 times 10? What's the capital of whatever? And she's on
It
the
was actually, it was like she just had a concussion, like her pussy had a concussion. She's like, how many fingers am I holding up?
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing this. He's like, no, let me see if this is fine. Is this
Yeah, that's so funny. Hilarious. You're so funny. I miss hanging out with you, huh? It's funny.
I know, right? Yeah,
You
yeah.
get some fun.
When things, I don't know, whenever we're allowed to, fucking come over. You gotta come see the new.
Pax, you gotta sit. You wanna be on my podcast? My sexy podcast. You wanna be on my sexy podcast? Welcome. I'm MAXINE X, and this is Diary of MAXINE X. This episode has been brought to you by Sliquid Lube, natural intimate products from sliquid.com. Check them out on YouTube at Sliquid Intimate for 6 tips on better oral and all about their flavored lube. Follow Sliquid on Twitter at Sliquid. A big shout out to CEO Dean Elliott on Twitter at Sliquid CEO for giving me 2 different packages of his amazing Sliquid lube. I also love the Sliquid t-shirts and the fun Sliquid stickers. Thanks from everyone at MAXINE X Productions.
The other custom people are just like, they'll be happy if you constantly say their name. So it's personalized, right? And then they'd be like, yes, David, yes, David, yes, David. Yeah. And then,
Why are you saying what's going on in my head right now? Not this one either, the one you can't see. We are recording now. Welcome to episode 5, I believe, of Wheelin' and Dealin'. We have an old friend of mine. I haven't seen this gal in a long ass time. You may have seen her on one of your tabs when you're trying to get out of your computer screen really quick when your family's coming home. This is my good friend MAXINE X. Give it up, man.
Yeah. What's up? How are you? Well, you know what? We can do this more often, like the Zoom thing, because as soon as I'm able to, well, I'll probably be here for like the month, but then, God, I want to get back to the Dominican. I'm like, what am I doing here? It's fucking Canada. I'm going back down south where we're drinking friggin' cocktails on the beach.
Yeah, I'd be down. I was supposed to be in Jamaica, actually. I was thinking about going to Jamaica for my 30th because I got family down there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I posted a picture on my Facebook of like my last little trip. It was with me and my aunt. I think I was 4.
Aww. Well,
I had the same
changed the flights. You know how I had to get here? I don't even know how I'm going to get back. So they changed the flights.
Are you going to be in like the big girl's ass like the coyote?
No. So I had to take a flight from Dominican to Miami, Miami to Atlanta, and Atlanta to Toronto, all in one day. And they were like,
it was like 4 flights.
Dominican to Miami is like 2 hours long, but you have to do all the process, right? You know, the security, the bags, all that stuff. So you have to do all that. And then when you get to when I got off of Miami, I had to collect my bag, and I had to rebook in because there was no connecting flight, which was such a pain. And then she told me that I wasn't going to make my flight because they had just said my connecting flight was going to be 20 minutes late. And she knows she used to work at the Atlanta airport, and it's massive. You know how long it took me to get from where I got off of my plane to the next gate? An hour. And I got a little bit lost, of course, so it took a bit longer, but it was still very far away. And I didn't know you had to go all this way down this hall. Then you had to turn, and then you go on a tram that takes you to a whole other part of the airport. I would have never made it. No way.
Wow.
It took me an hour to get there.
It's like in the West Edmonton Mall, like that type of trolley that you had to take over?
It was like a tram. It takes you all the way to another part of the airport. And so anyway, she did me a massive favor in Miami, and she put me on an earlier flight, but it was a standby flight, but it wasn't full. So I was easily on that flight. So, cause it wasn't fully booked. But standby is like if somebody cancels or doesn't show up, you can take their seat. But she says if that happens, which it's not a full flight, but if that happens, she put my other flight onto first class, so I'm right at the front and I could run out, but I still wouldn't have made it because I'm not that fast. I'm like, oh my God, and it was so far away.
Oh God.
So then when I got off, I got to the Atlanta. Okay, so I got in Miami. I went to where I was supposed to board the plane, and they were already boarding. So I was like, I had no time to get, like, thank God I had snacks because I had no time. Then I get on that flight, and then I go to Atlanta, and then when I get off at Atlanta, I had some time, and I was like in this bar, and it's so cool in the U.S. because like everybody talks to everybody, no problem, because there's like in America, I feel like they're like chat with strangers easier, like because I'm from Toronto, and Toronto, it's a little bit different in Windsor too. Like Windsor's more friendlier than sometimes Toronto.
It's a bit more of a small town.
Yeah, like in Toronto, they don't always talk to strangers in the bar. No. When I was in this bar, everybody was talking to each other. Black, white, old, young, whatever, doesn't matter. Everybody was all cool. And I started talking to this girl. I sat beside this girl, and she was I think she said she was from Florida, but then now she was living in Alabama. And then there was this other guy. He was like made power lines, or he put up power lines all over America. So he was calculating all the different cities and places in the States he's ever been in the United States. So he's kind of collecting like his trip passport, and he loved it. I was like, oh, what's your favorite place you visited? And he goes in and he would say, oh, I love so many, but maybe I like the, South Carolina or North Carolina. And I was like, oh, amazing. And I think he was from Kentucky, and I love that area. And then there was another couple who, yeah, go ahead. There was another couple, and they bought the girl beside me a birthday shot. And then the bartender, she took my glass of wine and she filled it to the top. So I had like double wine, like I couldn't even finish it. And I bought a second one and a double one. And I was like, I ended up giving her a $10 tip at the end of the night. It was just like a great, and I ate like all I ate was like cheese sticks or whatever. But it's America sometimes, like, here's the thing with America. It's like lively. Like people have a personality, and they joke around and they have a lot of fun. But always you're going to find with that, you can also find somebody who's also could be a bullshitter. So
those people are loud mouths.
You got to watch out for the bullshitters. But
I love what Bill Burr said, where he said, you can't judge a whole group of people based on their biggest morons, based on like,
yeah, that's good.
Like, it's not a fair assessment of the country's track record and who they are collectively. I think we, because this is the thing too, like I had a job at the Y, and it was about like a job training seminar, and they're talking about the mental traps you can get yourself into, and one of them was overgeneralizing or making decorative statements. So like you'll say, well, all people do this and all people say this, typically typically you're just using hyperbole, but doing that shit, I feel like can like alter your opinion of people. So it's not a productive way to communicate. Oh damn, you just did a shot? What'd you do?
Well, my sister gave me vodka. Well, it's so funny. I should have showed her. Like she smoked the thing outside. He was smoking it on here.
I was gonna say I could have shotgunned you through the camera, you know?
Yeah, you shotgun me through the camera with your joint.
Let's do it right now.
Get your joint out. I got a vodka.
Yeah, I had a little bit of wine before we started. I haven't been drinking,
Nice.
so I've been drinking way too hard lately. Like,
Oh, I know. Everybody has it. It's COVID. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay, give me a toke of your joint. I haven't done that since I was in my 20s.
Oh shit! Hey.
Late 20s.
I think everyone's becoming alcoholic.
Oh my god, I know, and everybody gained weight.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think everyone's gaining weight and everyone's become like a severe
Oh, totally. I know.
Legit, this is like the bad parts of like the 20s and the 30s. You know what I'm saying? It's like they talk about the partying. But yeah, we're putting our body, because here's the thing, you need to have a catharsis. I feel like when people are so pent up right now, and that's why you're seeing all their emotions being spilled out online. I take a break from online. I do a point of emphasis to not check shit throughout the day.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I did that too.
Oh yeah, like don't watch the news.
Before I re-added my Facebook.
Like,
my sister makes jokes.
I'm this much of an old man, Maxine. Even when I watch sports, I'll mute all the commercials. I can't listen to one.
Well, who wants to listen to the commercials? Of course, that makes sense.
Pavlovian response at this point where I'm like, if I hear one more fucking ad played the 50 minutes, it's the same fucking ads they keep recycling over and over and over again.
Oh, it's horrible. I'm so sick of ads.
I would rather take Chinese water torture than this bullshit right now. It's less painful.
What exactly is Chinese water torture? Is it like where they just drop a drip on your head like over and over until you go crazy?
How I've seen it dramatized in movies is they have somebody tied up like your fantasy. So maybe I'm giving you another idea for your next DVD. They tie them up like their arms and legs and you keep your head back and you just drop water on them consistently.
Oh my god.
And here's the thing, I was watching a really shitty and like, first of all, how do people like not just open up your mouth and do that, just catch the drops or just like put your tongue out. But I was watching a shitty movie, it's called Robo Vampire, and they were doing the same type of Chinese water torture, but the time captures were not perfect to it. Like she took like 3 drops and she was soaked. It was like, this is such bullshit.
So crazy. So funny. What about that? What about all that Japanese like porn? Is that so popular with young people? Like, because it's supposedly like a crazy like.
Are you talking about the cartoons, like the hentai shit?
Yeah, when they have the tentacles. I only heard about it. I've only seen maybe a little clip of it once online. I was like, whoa.
I don't know. I don't ask. Like, if that is a conversation, it's typically a drunken one past 12 at a bar somewhere. But
all right, see ya.
I don't know. I have a few weird friends. I'm sure they like that shit, you know?
My sister, say goodbye.
Bye, it's nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you, Sarah. It was a pleasure. I'm going to try not to slip in your sister's squirt, you know?
He's going to try not to slip in my squirt.
If we ever do a live show, I'm gonna grease my fucking wheels.
She has a little too much information for me.
Does she know what show she's on?
I told you she's really funny, so we have to have
I totally got caught here.
You got caught? Oh my god! Yeah, no.
Messy?
Show me. I can't see it from that far. Just put your head down. No, it's fine.
Oh
yeah.
I just like walked in. I was like talking to you, and someone.
We have shows like this, guys.
It's
All right.
Be careful. Yeah, that thing on there. You're gonna do it again. I was just gonna say, be careful your head now.
Again. Oh my god.
Yeah.
For the audio listeners, I don't know what did she do? Did she bump her head? What happened?
Oh no! Like there's like a spring door in the back, right?
Oh.
Like there's a spring door.
Yeah.
And the chain of the spring door is hanging low, but she has like an afro, right? Afro hair. So her hair is afro hair. It's like curly, right?
Yeah.
And she walked by it, and the chain went up here, and she's like, "Oh, I got caught."
Oh damn!
She goes, "Did my hair get messy?" I'm like, "No, it looks fine."
Another scene to add to your next movie: a wire pulling your hair.
Yeah, look, but she's like, have you ever heard of SCTV?
SCTV now begins its programming day.
I can set my mind for everything.
Yes, SCTV is on the air. Starring John Candy. Joe Flaherty. Eugene Levy. Andrea Martin. Rick Moranis. Catherine O'Hara. And Dave Thomas. With tonight's special musical guest, Rough Trade.
It's a comedy from Canada.
SCTV, yeah. That's
SCTV.
yeah, Eugene
You
Levy.
know, it was
back in
like
the day.
all the most famous Canadian comedians were on it. It was like I was a little kid when it was on, but that's my sister used to love that comedy, and she used to just make all these funny jokes like she was right in the comedy show of SCTV. And my sister, I thought she was going to be a stand-up comedian when I was little, because like after dinner she'd go, wait, I have another joke to tell you, and she'd like have all these little things. Like we were like anywhere from grade school to like high school, but she'd like keep me there, and she's like, and then I get up and she goes, wait, another one, I have this another funny joke, and then she'd like do this whole like stand-up routine, like skit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, okay, you done now, Sarah? Can I go leave the tape? But yeah, she's really funny. And since I've been here, we've been cracking up like crazy. Like we've been laughing like crazy.
Probably
So
got
it's
like a billion inside jokes too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, of course.
Those are the best type of
jokes.
jokes. Like not even just
Yeah.
with family, but like amongst friends. Some of like the funniest shit is from like 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Nobody else knows what the fuck. You might as well be speaking Klingon. But
I know. And then you just laugh like crazy, and then we've been drinking too. So
what?
my sister's like, if I'm upstairs, she'll be like this, I'm ready for a shot right now. Come bring me a shot. And I'm like, okay. So I go to pour her a shot, and we're like, clink. You know, and then she's like, let's watch a movie, have some wine, and then we'll and then we've just been drinking and laughing a lot.
Actually, this is my next
Probably
thing.
driving the parents crazy.
Sorry to cut you off. I don't know if everybody knows this, but like you were born in Cambodia. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
States.
So I have a whole interesting story. My sister was adopted too. My sister was adopted from Ecuador.
So you guys are all
and-
adopted?
And there's 5 kids. 3 of us are adopted and 2 weren't.
Okay.
So my brother is adopted too. Like, so I was adopted from Cambodia, and I was. They found me in a bombed village during the war, and then I was brought
was I doing a set there? It was a bomb.
bombed village.
Was it the first 10 minutes of me being awkward?
Yeah. Oh, right. So then my stories is like, I was in this orphanage they called the Canada House, and so this lady, Naomi Bronstein, she was already helping Vietnamese babies during the Vietnam War in 1969, and then she moved in 1970. There was Nixon was bombing Cambodia, and so like the whole agriculture, and I was born in 1974, so it was stopped by them, but there was still war. There was war with other communists that were there, and then there was also a Marxist regime called the Khmer Rouge, and they were basically, as soon as America left Cambodia, they started they took over the country, and they put a lot of people in concentration camps, because what they wanted to do, because they're Marxists, right? So what they wanted to do is make a perfect socialist society. So the first thing it was the kind where a lot of them he believed that the country people were better than the city people because because communists are against capitalism. So anybody who was from the city was sworn at and was like called the evil capitalist, right? And they were meant to line up for food last. And then he killed everybody who was educated. So everybody from the government, this is a lot of people who killed, like over 2 million people minimum was killed. So everybody who was from the government, anybody who was a teacher, anybody who was educated, any student, anybody who wore glasses, you'd be killed.
It's probably not the first reason. It's probably
well, they killed anybody who was mixed race Cambodian. They killed anybody who wasn't Cambodian. They killed anybody who was a different religion. They didn't believe in religion because they're Marxists. They don't like religion because the religion is the Marxist ideology, right? They killed like basically everybody. All they wanted was the countryside Cambodians. I would have lived if I was old enough because I was from the country. I was from the jungles, so I was from the country. And non-educated, right? Because they wanted to re-educate them. So they put them in concentration camps where
aren't they worked. Creepy terms, irregardless. Like,
what?
I say it's a creepy term. Like, what do you mean be re-educated? Like, it's it's like what the
called
fuck
brainwashing.
Yeah, it's because there's definitive truths. You know, there's definitive things that we can prove with like equations and fucking just with actual visuals. So like, when you keep hearing these terms like come up and shit, it must be so fucking alarming just because like of how
what come up?
Just like any like the re-education or like when you need to like relearn. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's called brainwashing. So basically they like a lot of like a lot of communists, they'll make them listen to, like, when they were working in the fields, they played audio like of monologues of their leader, which was Pol Pot, over and over how great he was. And then after they did another purge, and he was thinking, oh, some people are dying in the rice fields, and it was really because they're malnourished. They were slaves basically, and they were dying. And he goes, oh, something's like poisoning the group. So he did another purge, and then he had a place called one of the places that he had was a prison called SS-21. And what happened, this is what the killing fields were, right? This is the real killing fields, is this place called SS-21. And so they started arresting everybody. So they arrested from whole families all the way up to babies. They have an area in Cambodia called the Killing Fields, and you can go to this location. It was a converted school, and it has all these pictures of people and babies and all the people they killed, and they kept records of how they tortured and killed them, because they would ask them, are you with the KGB? Are you with the CIA? And these are country Cambodians. They don't even know what that is. And they're like, no. And then they eventually have to admit it. And then they would kill them, right? And if the only survivors that came out of it was a handful. Only like, I think there was like 6 people who survived it when it was finally liberated. And they were so brainwashed that they couldn't even remember what their name was. That's how fucked up this camp was. So that's communism. That's socialism. And so what happened
when it's done like with force, which people don't understand. Like if
exactly.
we're talking about psychology, this all kind of goes back. It's kind of an ever rotating cycle where like even at these places, if you do liberate that, they tend to have another leader that maybe is not as aggressive, but they kind of do it in like a different way. Like when I went to university, like the communications classes in particular, they would show us like different propaganda that they would show about war, and like how the media will give you imagery, and then we'll take studies on that and like based on like how people react. So like during the Katrina thing, they were showing like a lot of people looting back then, you know what I'm saying? So we're only showing like the imagery of that, and like people, and it's not that it's not a real thing, but to fix it on that and to like have it be the 24-hour news cycle, like you said, where they keep that shit popping up. It's the creepiest fucking thing.
That was a horrible, crazy incident that happened there. But propaganda, exactly. And my sister was adopted from Ecuador. She was she was Latin American, but she was left on a church's doorstep or something, or I'm not sure the exact story, but anyways, she was adopted. And my mom got her. It took about a year for them to get her over because they had to go through certain legal papers to show that they adopted her before they changed this law of not taking children out of that country. And then my brother was adopted, but he was born in Toronto, but his parents were Slavic. So there were two teenagers who had a baby. They were living in like cottage country, Ontario, Canada, but their parents were like Slavic, Yugoslavia kind of thing. And they had the baby in secret in Toronto at a hospital. And then they told the doctor they can't keep it because their parents will kill them, right? And so what happened is the doctor like knew my mom was on a list for adopting babies and just called her up. Said, do you want a baby? And she went from where she was in Montreal at the time, and then she went to Toronto and she got adopted my brother Ken. And I have two other brothers who were natural children, but there was a third daughter my mom had, but she died of crib death, like as a baby, right before I was adopted. So
what is crib death? Like, explain for
it's SIDS, like sudden infant death syndrome.
So
it's where they're like they only a couple months old in their crib, like and they pass away in their sleep. What's that?
So they're kind of like a stillborn baby almost?
No, they're born and they seem totally fine, and then in a couple months old, they might just pass out in the bed. So no real reason, maybe suffocation, but it's almost like a natural death. They just didn't survive. And back in the day, before they had medical stuff, that happened to babies and families all the time, that they only lasted so long. And that's why so many people had so many families had kids, like bigger families. Like my mom's family is a family of, there was 11 kids in her family. 11 kids. How do you give birth to 11? I couldn't even imagine.
That's almost a full basketball team. That's literally
exactly. 11, because the reason why is, one, back then kids used to help around the house or on the farm or whatever thing you had. And then of course many of them didn't survive. People were dying of the cold back then. People were dying like the flu and pneumonia that would kill a kid. And that happened. Like any kind of disease that came on, they didn't have the medical. But the problem was like my mom called the ambulance, but it was really foggy that night. And what happened is they couldn't find the house. So years later, after that, my mom put a sign up that right at the end of our driveway said 2066, which was our address. But from the distance during the fog, they couldn't read the little number right outside the door. So she ended up making a sign at the bottom of the street, at the bottom of the driveway, because it was so foggy. The ambulance kept missing the house. They couldn't find the house. And then, so that's why the baby died, so that, medical stuff and, different things that can happen. It's crazy. Kids die all the time. Like, for example, I saved a kid from drowning when I was 18. That's my biggest heroic thing. I saved somebody.
Were you like a lifeguard? How did you? Well,
we were raised where we took swimming lessons since we were kids, right? So it wasn't like I didn't have swimming lessons. And right before I quit it, I finished my green, right? Right before I quit it, we were learning how to rescue somebody, right? Like if somebody was drowning, we were learning that. We were learning how to do CPR. And the ironic thing was that it actually worked. It actually helped save somebody's life. So I learned that so much that it was just embedded into me. And I was swimming at a cottage with my boyfriend's family, and then his little brother was windsurfing. He was swimming all day, and he didn't want to go in. So I said, okay, well, don't worry, everybody. I'll watch him. Like, I don't want a kid to be by himself in the water. And thank God, because I was there. And so he wanted to keep playing in the water. So I'm like, okay, let's race to I was 18 years old. So I was playing with him like a little kid. I'm like, let's race to the rock and back, right? And then on the way back, what people don't realize is kids, they have a lot of energy, but they have bursts of energy. This is why a lot of kids drown. They have bursts of energy, and then all of a sudden they lose all their energy, and they can sink like a stone because they can't even keep themselves afloat. So that's what happened to him. So he started to feel like he was drowning. He didn't have any more energy. He put both hands on my shoulder and started to push me down like he was trying to drown me, right? But in my head, I knew from what I was taught, that's exactly what they do when they're about to drown. They try to grab onto anything, even a person, and they'll sink them like a stone because they try to keep afloat because they panic, right?
Yeah, and really, you gotta you gotta give into the undertow too. One of my friends drowned the same way.
Right. Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
What happened? Yeah. I took the kid, right, when he started doing that. I didn't even think. Honestly, I just took him in my left arm like this, and I swam with one hand all the way back to the shore, and he was in panic. So he ran right inside the house, and I was standing there like in shock because I was like, wow, what just happened? I just saved his life because I knew that if I wasn't there and he decided to swim on his own, that day would have gone on wrong. He would have drowned and nobody would have known where he was. Yeah. Until he surfaced. Tell me about your friend.
Oh, no, I was just going to say he's lucky that Andrea Yates wasn't the lifeguard that day. But I just looked it up. That's what I was doing. She's a lady that drowned her kid in the bathtub. She's from Houston, Texas or whatever. So yeah, it was.
Never heard of that.
Hold on a sec. Hey, I'm hold on a second. See you guys. Hit the wrist.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Okay, so Vicky,
Hi.
my Snapchat. Say hi to everybody.
Hello, snappers.
We're gonna do a live webcam show.
Come and see
My video. Say hi.
Hi. You're so cute.
She's so cute. We had a great day. Thanks for having us, Sarah. I love working with you, and on top of it, all my fans like literally tell me, "Oh my God, you're gonna work with Sarah J. Oh my God."
It was a pleasure.
No, seriously.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good whatever time this comes out. It's your boy, DJ Dave Squeaky Wheelz, and welcome to Wheelin' and Dealin', episode number 50. Oh my goodness.